Think it's doing it.
I think we're live.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Shabbos show. And I don't know what week it is. You always kind of update us, Barry.
It's about week 9.
Is it really?
It started the 13th of March for us, and so it's now 9 weeks.
9 weeks of us kind of meeting with you, our friends, and our community, saying hello, preparing for Shabbos. Hi, Susan. Um, Finding a little bit of joy, and what we hope is a bit of a transition for our friends and our family and our community from the hard week of creating and the values that are in creating, right? All the value of working with our hands and our minds and putting things in order, to the sun setting on Shabbos. Hi, Janet. And settling in and taking stock and taking rest. So we have our usual things here. We're kind of setting up, getting ready for we have like a little flurry of activity, right before, the last little things that you do, and getting our Kiddush cup out and our matches and using this sweet little candle holder. It's so cute. Using this with the 12 tribes right there in the stones. And the call is rising, and I got a late start today. So because I got a late start, it hasn't risen very much for you to see yet, but he's going to get there. He's getting started. So,
Hey, so
how
Debbie,
you doing?
let me tell you what's going on.
Oh, good.
We started doing this show, and we started with staying in place, shelter in place,
Yeah.
right before the beginning of Leviticus. We've gone through the entire book of Leviticus, and now we're starting Numbers. And it's interesting that Numbers is Bamidbar, and Bamidbar means going into the wilderness. And holy smokes, it feels like the wilderness a little bit. We have to know where we're headed and what we're doing.
Or maybe we don't know where we're headed.
We have no idea where we're headed. Yeah, exactly. So it is interesting that once again, Torah kind of finds a way for us to understand, or at least think about how Torah relates to our common day life, our everyday lives.
Well, along those lines, what I've been thinking about and what I wanted to share for your reflection today was a Hebrew word, hafsakah, which means a pause or a gap or a moment to stop. And what's interesting is I've taught this concept before, particularly with Yoga Emmanuel. We had really studied a lot of what hafsakah is. And in those times when we reflected upon it, we talked about, if you were going to do a blessing over the wine, you wouldn't, Baruch atah Adonai, Amen, and then you wouldn't say, and you know what? I like that, you combed your hair off to one side. Oh, now let me sip my wine. That's a time when you wouldn't want a pause. You move through a prayer, or you move through something sacred. But I've been thinking about this pause a little differently lately, and talking with a really close friend this morning, we were talking about this quarantine as a really big pause, a no way can you miss it pause, with not much being very much the same. And I would have to say that the first few weeks of this, I remember very initially, and they said, I don't know if you remember this, we thought that the J might be closed for 2 weeks.
Right.
And we were like, hurry it up so we can get back to normal. You remember
Right.
that? And we were
Yeah.
like, this will be like a 2-week vacay. So we're gonna, let's make a pie. let's do this and let's do that. And okay, you know what? We'll talk with the kids on the phone. We'll whatever. And then COVID-19 really evolved, and we all began to understand what it was we were up against. And so here we are in this pause. And, I would say the first few weeks, Barry and I were like, let's do this while we wait. Because very soon everything is going to go back to normal. And this is what I would like me to reflect on this Shabbat, and I offer it up to you to reflect on. And I know we've been visiting about this. Is there really going to be normal the way that there once was, whatever normal means to you? And would that even be appropriate here after all the things that we have learned about and all the things that we've been delving into, just really having more time for reflection? And that doesn't mean it's all been happy reflection. Reflection just is reflection. You don't even have to judge on it. You just see what comes up. And perhaps this Havsakah, perhaps this big pause is actually going to continue to bring us and teach us about what's important in our world and what it might be time to shed and let fall away. What do you think?
I agree with you. There's so many of I look at emails, I look at work, and I think of how it requires more time to think, more time. Don't respond to the first email. Look through all of them before you respond to any of them, so you don't make the mistake, because you're not really at work. You're doing everything from a different place. And I think pausing for a moment and thinking through things before you react is so much more important today than it was in front of a person, in front of a group of people. You just have to be more careful, and you have to take a moment. And so I appreciate what you're saying. What is it? Hafsakah?
Hafsakah.
Is it a noun?
It's a verb.
Okay.
In Hebrew, and it's to pause. Good Shabbos, Mark. And, along those lines, I love talking about Shabbat, and it's on the way, and get ready. And I am try so hard to be very transparent, because I think that that's what helps each of us learn from one another rather than terribly guarded. So I have to tell you, I love the frenzy that leads up to Shabbat. Make no mistake. I've never needed to take speed a day in my life. I've got it all right in here. I can run around and get all the financial things done, because of course we don't do that on the Sabbath, and I can get the last of the laundry done. And in this time period, in this quarantine, I'm like unloading the dishwasher for the 85th time, and whatever we're all doing, getting the challah ready, all of that. That's not the problem. At least it's not for me. It's the hafsakah. It's the pause. And I like the creating. And I remember when I was a little kid and it would be time to get in the bath, I'd run around the house, and like 85 times, I must like the number 85 today. My
Right.
mother would say, get in that bath, get in that bath. Finally, you get into the bath, and what happens? La, 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 la. And she's like, get out of that bath. And that's how I am with Shabbos. Like, there's a big part of me that doesn't want to stop creating and the doing. I like the doing a little bit more sometimes than the being. And that being the case, Saturday night, you begin to move back into the doing stage. Well, I think this whole quarantine has been a lot about the being. And I think that's what's a little bit hard for all of us. Just the sitting with ourselves and less distractions. And yet, on the other hand, more focus on what's important. So I've had some good conversations with my friends. I've had some very deep conversations with my family. I've had a little bit less rush, and I've never had to tune into my yoga practice with my practitioners, my yogis, the way I have now. I have to really tune in, because they're not just right in front of me. And I go, don't get to see my friends like Linda just signed on, right? And I used to be able to take advantage of the fact that I know I'm going to see her on a Thursday night or a Wednesday at 1. And I could be like, you good? Yeah, you good? Okay, okay, good. Oh, yeah, bye, bye.
None of that.
Over.
None. Yeah, over. At least for now.
You have to take that hafsakah, that pause. You have to pick up a phone and say, how are you? What's happening? Let me stop by your house. And life just is different. Oh, I see you're looking over at Nala.
Yeah. Nala, come here. Come here.
We were going to see if Nala would be on the Shabbos show. I don't know if she really will.
No,
It's also hard because she's. I'll see. Yeah, we'll see. She wanted to be on the show today a little bit.
Here. Can you get up here? Let's see. Come here.
It's a tough little angle, I think. Can you get her?
Here you go.
There's her
Sit,
little.
sit.
Oh, well, there's Nala.
Thanks, Nala. Thanks for being part of this. You're the best.
She is the best.
Okay, off stage.
Okay, I know why you brought Nala into this. Because we talked about this earlier.
We've Nala is our dog, and we've always done a lot of stuff with her, but nothing like today. In COVID time, she has been the third person in our family. And whenever we walk out the door, she says, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Whenever we walk anywhere in the house, I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
Nala is now a person.
She's the third marriage person with us now. she I don't know what we're going to do when like there's a work that we go to.
Yeah, when that happens. That's going to happen again. It will. Wow. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Talked to a friend of mine today, and in the middle of a conversation, I was talking to Brett. And Brett, I was asking him a question. He said, just a moment. Sure, honey, I'll do that. And then he asked another question, and before he could answer, sure, honey, I'll do that too. And so before I said, it's hafsakah. Sometimes you have to take a pause and say, I will get to that in a moment. And you just don't get tasks done as quick during this time.
The boundaries all running together
Boundaries.
in this time.
Right. So, Debbie, thank you. Thanks for teaching me something today.
Thanks for teaching me something today, Barry. So the question is, when we move into Shabbat, starting at sundown, and we stop the doing of the week, will we allow ourselves just to be? And will we settle in, that settling in? Maybe you don't want to get in the bath yet. And your mom's like, get in that bathtub. And then you get in and you're like, oh, why does it have to end? We would love it if y'all would share thoughts with us in the comments places, or give us ideas or pictures or anything. We love sharing this time. We absolutely love sharing this time. And
Debbie, I forgot. Before we begin Shabbat, we need to once again help out the people who are less fortunate than us, and so we're going to once again write a check for. I think we'll do the North Texas Food Bank again because we like that very much. So we try to do that every week, except 1 week we switch to a different, not charity, but something else. Mm-hmm. So thank you for everyone that joins us with doing that.
Yep, we try to do that right before we light the candles. Make sure that we have done a mitzvah there. Hi, Freddie. Hi, Edward. So hope you enjoy your Shabbat. May it be full of joy, and may all of us come through it in good health, taking care of one another, and during this great pause, which one day we will look back. I don't know if we'll ever be normal, but I know we'll look back one day, and hopefully the time of reflection will have added layers and layers of wisdom and compassion and love to our lives. Shabbat Shalom, friends.
Shabbat Shalom.
See you next week.